Hey, good morning, guys. I'm off work today, so I'll be with you guys today in the trading rooms. It is so dry here. We have a burn ban in several counties around us here. It is so bad dry, and they're trying to get the crops in to make sure there's not a chance of any type of fires because it's so dry right now. But you see the farmers out everywhere around here in southern Indiana. Some things I'm looking at here, guys. We are at 560 here in the markets, and that is a big, big deal here. So basically, if you look at your two time frames here on your options markets at the 560, so the biggest open interest cluster right now is at the 560 here for today's expiration. Okay, got another big cluster here at 563, but also on the weekly, the monthly. So next week is monthly expiration, so be mindful of that. And we got 30,000. Almost 31,000 contracts at 560. This is a big cluster that's expiring, so pushing above this is a big deal. And there's a lot of bets saying 560 is it. So you got almost 20,000 contracts down here on 560 on the put side. They were writing contracts against 560 thinking that we would not get back above that. So they've been writing a lot of contracts right here at 560 thinking that 560 is it to the upside. So be very mindful of that. We got the gap down last week. We came up here in the pre-market. If we zoom in here real quick here. So we're right there last week open, this morning in pre-market. So we have tagged the last week open. So we got the opening print from last week. We had a gap down from last week. If you don't remember, day after Labor Day, it was just brutal. We had a great big gap down. It was only a 4-day trading week last week, and so we came back up. We tagged RA this morning, so heads up on that, knowing that there is a lot of options here that don't want it to go any higher. So just be very mindful of that. If you're trying to go to the long side, I'd be extremely careful trying to go to the long side here. So ideally, what we're looking for from a bearish case, uh, probably coming back down to the 550. I have to double check how I drew these here. Ideally, if we could come back down to 557.60 today, that would be great here on SPY, a back and field. So that would be awesome if we could do something like that. Let me see if there's any gaps down there real quick. I forgot to check that. Equities might have some gaps right through there that we can fill. No, not seeing any. Nope, we've backfilled everything here on SPY. Unfortunately, that sucks. But at any rate, that's where we stand. If we for some reason, start pushing up higher, then that's actually going to cause another positive gamma squeeze above 560. So they're actually trying their best to make as if last week never happened. So the Qs showing a little bit more bullishness in the pre-market. We have pushed up above last week's open a couple times. All right, it looks like it's trying to build, showing a little bit more strength here in the Qs. Ideally, in this scenario, I would like to see the Qs showing weakness versus SPY. So that suggests to me that that they're really, really trying to fill that gap. Uh, so be mindful of that. If you go back on the daily here real quick, yeah. Uh, see, we are into, we got this prior gap right here. So this has proven to be a major overhead resistance right where we're at. This was the gap. This is the gap. We've got a double confirmed gap now. Now, this is where we want to see rejection in the markets. I mean, ideally, this is it. I mean, um, and ideally also, if you're a bear, you want to see a lower swing high. If that's what you're looking for, this would be great to see a lower swing high. We've got a double top in, put in a lower swing high. This is right where it should happen. I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying this is where you would be looking for it to happen. So you don't want to be betting the farm in calls going into today's session. Okay. IWM is a little bit different. See, we're currently trading higher this morning, breaking above my trend line here on IWM and pre-market. I'll show you in a second. But see this prior gap here? Okay, so we have actually, it did not become resistance. The gap did not become, so this has been disavowed. Okay, so this is actually a better pattern, for a migration back up into the call wall, in my opinion. So, unfortunately, with IWM doing that, you have to be concerned that the markets aren't going to come down much at all. So, just being very mindful of that. If you go down here on the 4 hour now, as you can see, we're breaking above that. It looks like to me like there's a pretty good chance that we could be coming up into the call wall. That's at 215, the call wall. There's a gain fan up here, right in the same area. A lot of things suggesting that this thing might be supported today, so we'll see what happens. If I were to look on the bullish side, this would be the primary one that I would probably be looking for potentially here on the bullish side. So be very mindful of that in today's trading. Okay, real quick, like Adobe got spanked last night, absolutely spanked. It's an AI play, but it's not having an impact on much of the other AIs. So that's where it goes. If the cycles are not lining up for a down cycle, you're just not getting the follow through from the other AI names. And so be very mindful of that. Adobe, you would think Adobe would probably put a cap on AI today. So be very mindful of that. In that regard, NVIDIA is into a call wall, massive call wall. I would not personally want to take NVIDIA long today, so be very mindful of that. AMD, we're the 150 area is a major area for AMD. Very major, very, very. I know it's potentially breaking out of a downtrend, but this is a major area at the 150 area. And so I find that very dangerous. We have come down here, uh, you know, trying to pick a top for something like this. I find that a little bit dangerous. So be very mindful on that. I personally don't even want to touch AMD directional. It could be chopping back and forth all day long here. Other things I'm seeing today, Apple looks like it could have some room here. We're coming right up into a trend line I've got drawn here, thinking that it looks like it wants 225. Probably get it today. Heads up on that. Apple's looking bullish to me, so if they are trying to fill that gap, I would think they would use Apple for that. Microsoft's into resistance, in my opinion. Oh, Microsoft possibly the 430 is a massive call wall here on Microsoft, so heads up on that. Uh, we got a possible double top situation here, so heads up. Triple top actually, 1, 2, 3. This could be a triple top, so be very mindful of that. This could be a potential triple top for Microsoft, so be very mindful of that. Tesla, we're into a massive call wall. I mean, if we get bidders in here, we have a double top situation currently off of a higher base, lower base. I mean, technically right now it's still short the open, but I don't know how long that'll last. If we go much higher at all, Tesla could be breaking out. Heads up on that one. Other things I'm looking at here. Google looked like it was looking pretty good here. Google looks like it's going to go up to tag its 200-day moving average today. Looks bullish. It's not very far to go, but it does look like it could get that 200-day moving average today. And then a lot of these other charts are just like Amazon, just a beast. I mean, we are above our last big call wall. We are currently trading above that this morning. That's a massive positive gamma situation coming into today's session. So that could even a back test of the big call wall could be a viable dip here for Amazon. So heads up on that. And then Meta is another one. We blew out above a massive call wall yesterday. we're opening right at highs. This thing here is just going, it's going to continue to destroy the shorts. Anybody who got net short, feeding on positive gamma, scenario here going on with Meta. We could even, this thing here, this beast, the way it's acting right here, right now, it could be back up to all-time highs today. I mean, these things can really have a life of their own. So this is not one that I would even think about shorting. I was wrong about that yesterday. I put a chart. I was actually looking for the downside, and I was dead wrong on that one. Is there any others that I want to talk about? 1 second. Okay, in that IWM thing, I do think we're breaking out here in crude. So heads up on that. It looks like a bullish pattern is developing here in the crude oil space. So this thing could get some legs today. So let's keep an eye on this, see if that actually starts playing out. That would be supportive of the Russell in that scenario. So let's definitely keep this on watch. We might be finding some life in the crude oil space. I'll finish it off here, guys. Micron. It looks like we're getting coiling action happening here at these lows here on Micron. And we got earnings next week. So heads up on that. I think it's next week. Within the next 2 weeks, you got earnings. This could be setting up for an earnings run-up play. Heads up on that. This thing could actually be running back up to $100 or better into the earnings. So definitely want to keep this one on watch on the bullish side, in my opinion. Just definitely something to keep an eye on here. Oh, another little theme which I have been noticing lately. If you have an AI name come out, it does bad on the earnings, and then it rallies, okay, before the next AI comes out, like we had Adobe today. Typically, that next day, the prior company like Broadcom, it will sell down in reaction in sympathy with like Adobe today. So be very mindful here. This pattern to the upside looks like it's completed. I would be very, very careful about trying to push Broadcom to the upside today. Just be very mindful of that. This thing here could very well roll back over in sympathy with the Adobe reaction. So I would be much more I'd much rather try this to the short side in today's session. Okay, thanks a lot, and like the video. Please retweet me on Twitter. Let's get some viewers on these videos. Comments below if you can, and thanks for watching my videos.